All right, welcome to a close-up. It is it's Tuesday, I think, and it is March 2nd, and we're here in the annex as always lately. We start here in the annex for reasons that I've explained. And you may have noticed that Potato is missing his collar. It's right here, and it will go back on him later today when it's dry, but it needed to be washed last night. It smelled like pee, and I'm not 100% sure why, but these kids spend, a good quarter of their time wrestling in the litter box, so it doesn't seem like a big mystery why it would end up that way. So I gave it a good wash, but like I said, it's still drying off. To help disambiguate things in the meantime, we've added a collar to Millet. Millet finally gets a green collar. He's big enough and healthy enough, and why not? We'll keep it even for everybody. That way, if somebody does lose a collar, we can still tell who it is all the time. So that's the collar news. Little Millet, by the way, just completely asleep. He ate a little bit this morning on his own. I haven't fed him this morning, but I might do. I'm not sure yet because he is doing a good job of eating, but I want to see him eat even more. I don't think he's keeping up with his brothers yet, not by a long shot. So I'll probably try to feed him a little bit. But in the last couple days, I haven't tube fed him. I just take some of the same fancy feast that everybody else is eating and put it in a syringe and put that in his mouth, just like we've done for so many classes in the past when they get old enough to manage that sort of thing. Lots and lots of gifs and pictures of us with kittens that we're feeding by syringe. So I'll probably do a little bit of that for him. Just make sure he's got all the calories that he needs, even though he doesn't love to eat. But he has been eating, like I said, quite a bit on his own. This morning he ate both kinds of food. We got dry food, we got fancy feast, and he's all into it. And DJ bought a little sign for the room yesterday that she thought would be cute. And here you have, we've put the cheat sheet on it for now, just for fun. Rye has the red collar, Corn has the blue collar, Potato has the checkered collar. Wasn't exactly room to write out checkered. Millet now has a green collar. And then Flower, we just put a little flower. There's an actual dried rose, I think. A little tiny baby rose. Just thought it would be fun. So that you can see on the stream. We'll see how long that lasts as a decoration in the room, but DJ really likes it because she needed something in this space to help make the stream less ugly, and the sign works for that, I think. So why not? Ah, potato. Oh my gosh. So, I think probably now is a good time for me to start talking about the title of the stream. I'm going to talk a little bit of tech on this stream today. Oh, before I do, Debbie, will they be moving to the main room soon? Well, that's a complicated question. It's a good question, though. I think that I would like to move them down there, and I think they're old enough and active enough to appreciate the main room and maybe appreciate the living room, and so that would be good. On the other hand, their mom is still freaking out when anything comes near the door, and you go downstairs and it's multiplied by, well, depending on how you count them, it's multiplied by three or by five. There's actually five times the windowed door space in the room downstairs. And I hate to see Flower just go nuts all the time about the doors, the way that was it Bebop did when we had to put up barriers on all the doors down there. Um, so I think I probably will probably today take down part of our little shield here and see how she reacts to it. If it gets a lot worse or just a little worse, or if we leave it off for a while, if she can get used to it, and then we'll use that as sort of a gauge to figure out how and when we are going to move them downstairs, or even if, frankly. There's no reason that we couldn't have a new mom cat come in downstairs. We did that last year. It was who was it that had their babies in the box in the main room when we first got started here? I keep wanting to say Taylor, but that doesn't sound right. Tinker? I don't know. Anyway, not the point. The point is that there's no reason they couldn't just stay up here, and we just let them come out and explore upstairs instead of going downstairs at all. But I do like having that living room space available to the older kittens. So we'll see. I see. It's probably whimsy then. That's fine. Yes, good call. Um, I just noticed Potato is not the only cat in my lap. Millet's still there. Potato's just laying right on top of him. Potato, why? Millet doesn't care. Okay, so back to it. What I was going to say is some of you may have noticed that there was a glitch in the Matrix this morning, um, and you may have had to refresh the regular live stream. You may notice that right now you can't rewind on the regular live stream. And all of that is due to the fact that we have upgraded the main stream to 4K, for real 4K. And we had to get some new cameras for it, and we're not done yet. We gotta get a lot more new cameras for it. But considering that we've been doing this for 5 years now, 5 years next month, I think we've been, and by doing this, I mean live on the internet for 5 years. We've been fostering kittens a little longer than that. But the Kitten Academy live stream has been running pretty much continuously for 5 years now. That whole time we've been using the exact same technology, the very same cameras. Nothing has changed tech-wise in 5 years. And I thought, now that DJ and I actually own a 4K television, it seemed like it was time to upgrade the stream to 4Ks of video for kittens. So that happened. We tested it out for the last couple of days, and now we've kicked the main Kitten Academy live stream up to 4K. I think it makes a huge difference if you have a 4K, if you can view 4K on a TV. It really does make a nice difference. It looks good. Everything's sharp and clear, and I think we may be the only stream that actually looks fuzzier at higher resolution, because now you can see all the kitten's fuzz that much better. So it's a nice thing. We're still working some of the stuff out. I can't find any 4K cameras that I'm actually happy about. So we've got one that works, that sort of meets our bare minimum requirements to get it done. And we're also constrained in a few other ways. I'm going to talk about it, actually. I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys about it as though you care. So if you don't care about tech, this is going to get real boring, and you can just turn down your volume and watch this kitten eat my foot. Or if you care about the tech, you can listen in for a minute. So I just want to talk about a couple things that are either bothering me or just facts about the way things are right now and what we're going to change. So first off, now that we've gone to 4K, it turns out there are very few 4K cameras that work, as sort of security cameras or live stream cameras in our case, that aren't just ridiculously astronomically expensive, and too expensive, even if we could afford them, too expensive to put in a room with kittens that are surely going to spend a lot of their time attacking the cameras and destroying them, and we don't want that. So we had a real hard time finding a camera that could do 4K in the first place. And if you go online to try to look for this stuff to help us out, maybe, and you can do that, please do if you want to. But I got to warn you about something you're going to notice is you're going to see tons of security cameras, even a lot of them at reasonable prices, that say that they do 4K. But you've got to dig into the details, and it turns out that almost all of them only do 4K at 15 frames per second, right? Not great that way. 15 frames per second would look terrible on your TV, and we don't want that. So, um, so that right there eliminates the vast majority of the cameras on the market that claim to do 4K. They just don't really, by my definition. There's a couple out there that get as high as 25, I think, but even that's a little low. We found one, as far as I can tell, it might be the only one that is somewhat reasonably priced. It's still super crazy expensive, but a lot cheaper than any of the others I could find. We found one that will do 30 frames per second, and the trouble there is the one that does 30 frames per second. You see it sitting right there. It's not a dome camera. It's not pan and tilt, so it is in a fixed position. It doesn't move, and that's kind of a problem because we're used to being able to move that camera around to point in various directions. This is the old camera that was getting the main bottom view, and now that one is pan and tilt, and this one is not pan or tilt. Now, what it does have going for it is an optical zoom, which is so nice to have, and also variable focus, which means now if we get the kittens very close to it, it can still focus on them, and that's great. That is a big improvement, but not being able to move it around means we've got to plan just a little better for wider coverage and not to be moving it, and that's rough. So that's a trade-off. Also, as a side note, the actual zoom controls for it are awful, just awful. And 90% of the time, if I want to zoom in or out, all it will do is zoom all the way in or zoom all the way out. When the best settings are all right in the middle, they're very difficult to hit. Big pain. Oh, so much pain, but worth it for the 4K. And I think those are compromises that we can live with. So that's it about the 4K one there. Then, um, as you know, our regular Kitten Academy live stream, we do a thing that we've been doing our way for a long time now. I think it's the sort of our best way, and it's the way that we like to do it, where we've got three views all the time. We've got one wide view of the room at the bottom, and then we've got the two smaller views up at the top of various places in the room. So that gives us an advantage. We only need, technically speaking, one camera that does full 4K, the one that's on the bottom view. You can't do that with a 1080p or anything. It has to be a 4K camera to get that bottom view in. The other two, they don't have to be 4K. The trouble comes in that they do have to, present a full 1080p because those spaces now, each of those two corners on the screen are 1080p. So if we have a camera there that doesn't do 1080p, at least it's going to look all weird. And the reason that that's a problem is that these cameras the ones that we've used for 5 years, there's one there, the Amcrest cameras don't have optical zoom. They only have what they call digital zoom. And if you use digital zoom, it makes the resolution less than 1080p, which means we can't zoom them anymore. Now, we can still use the cameras, but it's like now we can't zoom in on kittens with those cameras anymore. You just have to use the full view, which is why you might have noticed if you've been watching the stream the last couple days, there's a view of the food. And normally that would be a view that you'd expect to see zoomed in once in a while. And it hasn't been zoomed in at all. And that's because if we do, the 4K stream is going to get all grainy in that corner. Not great. Not that, these kids are all grainy all the time, because that's what they are. Ha ha ha. So, what that means is that we also need to upgrade our regular old 1080p cameras, or at least some of them. Some of them we can put in places that don't need to be zoomed, and that's nice. Or some of them maybe we can accomplish by putting in extra cameras. We can take like 2 or 3 cameras and put them around the room in the places that we would have zoomed into, so that we don't have to zoom as much, and that's nice. We can make a little bit of efficiency that way. But for a lot of cases, we're just going to need to replace them with cameras. And because of the way the market works, it looks like our best bet is to find cameras that can do 1080p with an optical zoom, because as I mentioned, you just can't find ones that do 4K well. There are no cameras. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, there's no cameras that do 4K, 30 frames per second with an actual pan tilt zoom mechanism that are under, $500. There aren't any. There's not a single one on the market. If somebody can prove me wrong, then do. Oh, when I say that, by the way, I mean, obviously IP cameras that provide an RTSP stream that we can put, into YouTube, because you might find, like, I don't know, a USB web camera or something. That doesn't count. It's not the same thing at all. But if you're looking for something that you can plug into the Ethernet directly, that's going to give you an RTSP stream that we can put into our YouTube thing, um, that can hook into our encoder over the internet, then there's just no such thing. And this, like I said, this is the closest we could come. So it's tough. So we've already tried one 1080p camera that has optical zoom and that meets all of those requirements for the corner cameras. And I like it. I think it's great. I don't have any real complaints about it. It's a generic knockoff of a Hikvision brand camera. It's not Hikvision, it's something else, but it's basically a clone of one of their cameras. And it comes in a nice protective dome for kittens. In fact, the advertising for it says it's explosion proof or explosion resistant or something like that, which is funny in the first place. And secondly, I don't know if explosion resistant means kitten resistant. I don't think it does. You could have a lot of things that could survive an explosion and would be taken out by these kittens. So, so yeah, but I'm sure that gives it a little bit of extra strength that we might need around here. So we'll see. So, so yes, so I'm probably going to have to get more of these. They aren't cheap either, but affordable enough to put in a room with kittens. I'm okay with it. So we can make it work, is my point. We can definitely make this 4K thing work, but the technology is not perfect yet, and it's not cheap. The old cameras that we've been using for 5 years now, when we first started, they were a bit more expensive than they are now. But now, when we buy one to replace these, they cost us less than $50. It's old tech. Um, the new ones are considerably more expensive than that. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so that's that. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to say about the tech. Maybe I'll think of something else. That's fine. But the bottom line, though, is yeah, we had to put out a little bit for those, and I'm probably going to have to, at the very least, if we're going to continue to do things the way we used to do, I'm going to have to get a second one of these so that we can have the big bottom view available for upstairs kittens and for downstairs kittens. So we'll get there. Oh, okay, there we go. All right. Now, I just want to address one more thing, actually, tech-wise, before we move on, which is I know I've heard people talking about the sound on the regular stream, and it's funny because over the weekend while we were testing it, lots of people said, "Oh, the sound is so much better on the 4K stream," and I thought so too. I listened to it myself. I thought that sounds better to me. But today, since we've switched it live for everybody, it seems like the general consensus goes the other way. I've heard a lot of people say the sound on the regular stream is awful. Um, so just to give you a short answer there, we can switch it. There's lots of things we can do to change the sound, and I will look into it over time, but you're just going to have to be patient. There's a lot of, we're trying new things here. We've been doing everything exactly the same for 5 years. We're doing something new now. It's going to take us a little while to sort it out, for sure. So, and then just to be really clear, if anybody can find me a reasonably priced 4K, IP, preferably power over Ethernet camera that provides an RTSP stream that I can control also using the TinyCam app on my phone that we use for all these cameras. 4K 30 frames per second, pan and tilt, and preferably optical zoom. Let me know. If it doesn't have a varifocal lens in it that automatically does focus and zoom, then it has to be really, really, really cheap because I have to hack it up for that. So if such a thing exists, let me know. But after doing weeks of research online, I'm pretty sure such a thing doesn't actually exist for some reason. Seems like it would in this day and age. That's not a tough thing to ask for. But it just doesn't. These kids are worn out now. Probably my tech talk put them to sleep. I don't blame them. Sure, a lot of you guys feel the same way. Oh, well, so first off, Jim, I see start a GoFundMe for Kitten Cam upgrades. Honestly, I've thought about it because this is not, it's not cheap. One thing I need to mention though is again, there are some options out there that are crazy expensive. Those aren't options for us, and it's not just because of the price. Even if we could get people to help us pay for the really expensive cameras, then I wouldn't feel comfortable putting them in a room with kittens that could destroy them. I wouldn't be cool with that. So they have to be cheap, not just for our budget, but because they're going to get wrecked. Some of them are going to get wrecked, and we want to be okay with that, right? So but you bring up a point, which is my original plan was to run two streams, to have the regular Kitten Academy stream go just like it always did, and to put up the 4K stream and to put ads on the 4K, because we don't do ads on the regular Kitten Academy live stream. I don't know if you've noticed, but we don't do ads on the regular Kitten Academy live stream. We do that by choice because if we played like the ads that run before the stream, you'd click in to watch something live and you'd have to sit through an ad or wait 5 seconds to click skip. That's not fun. Nobody wants that for a live stream. So we don't do it. And my thought was we could do the regular stream and leave it the way it was, put up the 4K stream with ads to start with, just until we get back the cost of the cameras from it, which at the rate that these things go, probably would be a few months at least. But here's what went wrong with that plan. This morning I was testing to see if we could flip the regular stream to 4K, or if we would have to start a whole new regular stream to get the 4K in there. And during that test, everything went live 4K, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to switch it back. So there you go. So that's just the way it goes. It's not that big a deal, everybody. It's really not. Um, so. Uh, yeah, I mean, AstroCat. So, I mean, that kind of thing is a fun idea. You're saying maybe we could get donated cameras from people that are upgrading because now, like movie studios and stuff, have to go to 8K because 8K is a thing these days. It's a cute idea, but you got to keep in mind the cameras that we use aren't, like they aren't film cameras. They aren't regular cameras. I couldn't use one of my photography cameras in here. Can't even use a USB web camera in here. You couldn't use, like, you can't use a GoPro. Can't use any of that kind of stuff that is cheap and does what we want because it's not wired the right way. It doesn't provide a stream that can go to our encoder, and they're not pan tilt zoom. Like I've thought about putting, say, one of my old photography cameras in here, and even if I add in, you can add on a thing that will let it do, send a stream over the internet. That's fun. It would still be fixed. It would be fixed like this one is and cost a lot more. So I might as well just put another one of those in here then, if that's the thing that we're going to do. It won't pan and tilt and zoom like this one or like this one where I can move around and find the kittens when I'm not in the room. That's important to us. Over the years that we've done this, we've learned that's super important. So so I like that idea. Asking people that are upgrading from 4K to donate is great, but oh man, those people, first off, far and few between, and then people that are doing that with the technology that we need, they can't exist because there's nothing to upgrade to. There's not even the 4K version yet. So, all right, okay. Anybody that's still listening, thanks. I know I've bored you to tears with this tech talk. Even the kittens are like, oh my God, will he ever shut up? Plus, we've gone on for 25 minutes, so thank you guys for letting me explain everything about the tech. The one thing I want everybody to take away from that, whether you are technical or not, is things are changing a little bit on the regular stream. Please bear with us. We're going to do our best to make the transition seamless and to keep the sound good and the video good and all that stuff, but there might be a little bit of stuff here and there for us to work out, and we are going to continue to work on it, okay? That's the important practical upshot. That and the fact that I just can't find the cameras I want. Sad face. Okay. I do, though. I think the 4K, for people that can view 4K, like if you've got a big 4K TV, like a lot of people do now, it's so nice. It's such a nice improvement, in my opinion. Okay. Oh, FF. Wow, I love your. I'm not prepared to answer your question, FF, about I haven't found the best way to hold a cat. I love it though. That is such a fun question for me to try to answer during one of these close-ups when I have the tripod and stuff ready to go. Oh, what a great question. Please ask that again. I'm gonna forget by the time I get a chance to do it, but if you keep that's good advice for everybody, by the way. If you have a question, it's a good question. Don't keep spamming it in, repeatedly during these close-ups. Don't do that. But if you ask a question and it seems like I completely missed it, ask it again in the next close-up. That's the right way to do it. Ask it in the next close-up until somebody notices. It's not that I want to ignore people. I do miss a ton of the questions, and then some of them are just things that I can't answer right now, like how to hold the cats. But oh man, what a good question. Especially when you have a cat around, like Smokey, who has a certain way that she'll let you hold her, or freaks out a little bit about being picked up. Smokey does still. Or another good example would be Myth here, who is actually, she freaks out less at being picked up than Smokey does, but she does too. She freaks out a little bit at everything. Myth is a little bit of a skittish kitten. Um, but so sweet. Look at this. She wants all the love lately. I think she's just hit the point now where she's starting to get a little more settled in. She's been happier about having the door open. She's kind of almost gone out. Like when I open the door, instead of being hiding under the futon, she'll actually come over to the door to say hi to me. She doesn't really go out all that much. She doesn't really go out all that much, but she does. She's getting so much closer to doing it. Like she'll come, like I said, right to the door to see me, with the door open and everything. That's something. That is really something. And look at what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing my Myth T-shirt. Yeah, that's you, Myth. What do you think? It does. It looks just like you too. Antlers and all. I know. In real life, your antlers are a little harder to see, but they're there. Um, I love this shirt. Yes, you love it too. Look at that. A little bit of headbutt support. So, let's see, what was I saying? I was saying Myth is getting adopted this weekend. So is Rumor, and so is Mac. So after this weekend, we are going to have a real empty house. My goodness. But I've talked to Myth's adopters, and they've even showed up a little bit on Discord. Discord's new to them, so I don't know how active they're going to be there. But I have talked to them by email quite a bit. I know they will keep me in the loop about how Myth is doing. And what's more is I know that they have planned so much about how to help Myth and take care of her. I mean, you could say special needs. She's not special needs. She's just a little skittish. Oh, I just hit my elbow. She's just a little skittish. So I know that they are planning for that skittishness, and we'll have just a great house for her. So I'm very happy about that because I love this cat. In a way, you get a cat like Myth that needs a little bit of a tender hand, I guess. And whoa, don't shake yourself right off the bench. In a way, it makes it more rewarding when then they love you so much like Mithy does. So she just wants all the love. We got her sutures out too. Those came. DJ did all the suture removal work over the weekend, and all the sutures are out of her and of Rumor. Oh man, that was tough too. This was funny. Taking her sutures out was real funny because I was holding her on my lap, and she's the only cat in the world that wanted me to pet her belly, and that was calming to her while she was having her sutures removed because she's just like that about the belly rubs. So silly. I couldn't do it too much though. Instead, I fed her handfuls of chicken while DJ was taking the sutures out because if I was petting her belly, then the sutures were moving around, and that wasn't easy. So that's what happened. Okay, we got to keep moving because we're really out of time here. I try to keep these things. There was a time when I used to do these all in 20 minutes or less, and now it's like half an hour or less, and we're not even hitting that all the time. Hi, Loganberry. Okay, but I do want to see if we can just find Rumor and Mac real quick. Um, Okay, there's Rumor. So Rumor wasn't feeling so great after she had her surgery, but now she is back to 100% Rumor. She has been running around the house like crazy and playing and snuggling and purring and everything. Oh my gosh, so much everything. She's just wonderful, and it's so nice to see her being back to herself. So Rumor is feeling great. She's got her sutures out, and she is also completely ready to go to her new house this weekend. And I hear Mac talking to me. Yes, Mac, talk to everybody. You got something else you want to say? Mac? Mackie Mac? You were talking. Are you done? Guess he had his say. Anyway, Rumor, just wonderful. I'm going to miss this cat too. I'm going to miss all of them so much. But Rumor's been just especially special because she's just so friendly and wonderful to everybody right from the start. And then we went through that bit after she got fixed where she wasn't being super friendly all the time. And it really felt bad because, of her personality. But now she's 100% back to normal and just feeling great and being great. And it's wonderful. It makes me very, 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 very happy. That's our little Rumor, and then here's Mac. Mac is also going home this weekend. We assume he is still a little bit sneezy. He sneezed last night. He sneezed right in DJ's face, and her reaction was priceless. But you just would have had to been there, I guess. But he seems clearer every day. Look at that. He looks great, doesn't he? There's nothing on his nose. Well, a little bit there. Um, and sneezes rarely. So I feel like this weekend, I mean, he's just not going to get much better, is he? I don't know. We'll work it out with his adopters, though. If they want to leave him here for a year, I'm sure that DJ would be fine with that. She loves this cat so much. Oh my gosh, DJ's crazy about this little guy. So as long as he wants to stay and get healthy, she might even be putting like itching powder in his food or something. Who knows? I wouldn't put it past her. Looking good though. Okay, that's it, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for joining me this morning. Thanks for listening to me ramble about technology for a little while. It's really been on my mind, even though it's not completely kitten related. I'm sorry about that. And just the reminder, as always, if you want to keep watching kittens, definitely check out the Kitten Academy live stream right here on YouTube because it's now in 4K. The K stands for kittens. There's four of them, and you will be able to watch them in high resolution. So thanks so much for that. Kitten Academy, the only stream to become fuzzier at higher resolution. I hope you enjoy, and I will talk to all of you later on. Thanks again, really much appreciated. All of it. Oh, these two together, just so sweet. Okay. Come on. Say goodbye, Mac. Good job.